if you're a young person watching this is leadership. This is patriotism. This is what it means to put the country first and put the party first and put the cause first. When your arm gets tired, you let somebody else finish pitching the game. That's what Joe Biden has done, and he's done that for all of us.
Man, this last 2 weeks have been crazy. First, you get the assassination attempt on Trump's life, where a sniper opened fire on him and he escaped it narrowly. And then you have the president now, who's basically incapacitated, and he's basically saying that he's not going to run for office. But then you have Van Jones on TV pissing out his damn eyes again. Every time we turn around, we see him pissing out his eyes. It's just ridiculous, man. We need to do something. They get these black men, they get on TV and they get to doing this. But this is what he said about Joe Biden. Check this out.
This is the difference between a politician and a leader. He made a selfless decision, and people are heartbroken. Even people who are pushing for this to happen. It's kind of like when your grandpa, you got to take the keys, and everybody, you got to take his keys, you got to take his keys, you got to, and he's fighting and everybody's so frustrated, and then you finally get the keys back, and then you just cry. Because this is somebody that you love. This is somebody that you care about. This is somebody who was there for you. This is somebody, you wouldn't be here without him. And you have to take something from him. Now, this is not, look, politics is politics. But this is a human moment for one of the great humans in America. This is a huge moment for him, for his family, for all of us who love him, for all of us who wanted him to get across the finish line. But if you're a young person watching this is leadership. This is patriotism. This is what it means to put the country first and put the party first and put the cause first. When your arm gets tired, you let somebody else finish pitching the game. That's what Joe Biden has done, and he's done that for all of us.
But see, when Leaky Joe, Crazy Joe, stepped down, a lot of people was wondering, was he going to endorse Kamala Harris? Because a lot of people didn't believe that he was going to endorse Kamala Harris. We know that Mike Pence, the former vice president to Donald Trump when he was the president, he didn't want nothing to do with Donald Trump anymore. Even Barack Obama didn't want to endorse Kamala Harris. But it got so crazy where you actually had black women that a lot of black women was happy for Kamala Harris, but you had some black women that didn't want to endorse Kamala. There was a woman named Tierra. She said, "I have zero desire to ever live in a country that is run by a woman." Like, it's getting to a point where it's just getting real crazy. But then you had Charleston White. He actually went to YouTube and he voiced his opinion on Kamala Harris running for office. Now remember, Charleston White is his views, is not my views. But this is what Charleston White had to say.
Man, they got me f***ed up. I wouldn't dare vote for no black. Now, listen, I was raised by black women. I got a grandmother, I got black sisters, but I wouldn't dare put no black woman in no position of the White House. The commander-in-chief of the military, a black woman. Not only that, a mixed black married to a white man. Her pH balance is way off with that white. Man, you can't make me believe. Hell no. Man, Kamala Harris got a white boy. Her pH balance is off, and her mental stability got to be off. A hoe would have thrown off pH balance unless she's sneaking and f***ing a. Now, if she's sneaking and f***ing a, then we might can let her be vice president. But there's no way. America, I'd rather for black people to go back to slavery than let a black woman run this goddamn country. Don't do it. Say, listen, man, I'm against anything with a black woman running. Motherfucker, get your ass back in that bedroom and in the kitchen. But the White House, America, we can't do this here now. Hell no. I'd rather have another motherfucking civil war before we let a run this motherfucker. Got me f***ed up. Go back and get Barack, if anything. Find another mixed baby. But don't put no in there.
Well, see, a lot of people is on to Kamala Harris. And a lot of black men is turning their back on Kamala Harris, but also black women. People are starting to wake up. Now, you have black people that's from all over the world, but we know that she's part Indian and part Jamaican, and she doesn't identify with African Americans or black American struggle. She went to HBCU, she has a white husband, but she's never really identified as a black woman. She identified as an Indian, and she was just a flip-flopper. And she's not on board with reparations for Black Americans. She doesn't identify with our long walk in our struggle. You know, she's been in interviews and she said, I'm not doing nothing specifically for Black people. She's made it catastrophically clear which side of the lane that she's on. And a lot of Black Americans, we are aware of this. And there's a line drawn in the sand between the old Black Guard and the new grassroots Blacks organizations that's coming up. And we have demands. We're not going for it anymore. So we're not supporting Kamala Harris. But y'all remember when she did this interview and she further stuck her foot in her mouth. We don't support this.
Support reparations for Black people.
Well, listen. Again, we had over 200 years of slavery. We had Jim Crow for almost a century. We had legalized discrimination, segregation, and now we have segregation and discrimination that is not legal but still exists and is a barrier to progress. We have disparities around housing. We have disparities around education. We have disparities around income. And we have to recognize that everybody did not start out on an equal footing in this country. And in particular, Black people have not. And so we have got to recognize that and do something about that and give folks a lift up. That's why, for example, I'm proposing the LIFT Act. Give people who are making $100,000 or less as a family a tax credit, which will benefit and uplift 60% of Black families who are in poverty.
So by default, it affects Black families, but there's not a particular policy for African Americans that you would explore.
But no, if you look at the reality of who will benefit from certain policies, when you take into account that they're not starting at the same place and they're not starting on equal footing, it will directly benefit Black children, Black families, Black homeowners, because the disparities are so significant. So if we focus on the specific issues that have resulted in the greatest disparities, and we understand that that's part of why we're doing it. Listen, the reality also is this: any policy that will benefit Black people will benefit all of society. Let's be clear about that. Let's really be clear about that. So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit Black people. No, because whatever benefits that Black family will benefit that community and society as a whole and the country.
As a Black man or just a Black person in general, Kamala Harris is very dangerous for our community because Kamala Harris, yes, she looks Black, but she doesn't represent our history of our struggle. She's not with funding HBCUs. It's so many things that she's against. Now, she's a Jamaican and Indian. She, like I said, she doesn't identify with us, our culture, our struggle, our walk. And you can see that when she was talking in this interview. We have to be very careful. We have to get to a point where we can't just vote for people because you see them as Black. What is her policies? Does she support the African Americans' plight? Does she, we are the majority of Black folks in this country, and she can't speak for African Americans if she doesn't represent us. And these are the things that we have to learn from as a people, man. She got on there and said, if she does anything for Black people, it's going to benefit everybody. But she came and immediately started talking about programs, not something specifically. We have a long history with the Democratic Party knowing that these so-called programs and these systems they set in place has been a colossal failure. They don't work. They don't work. She has the mentality where she sees a lot of Black Americans as lazy, as underachievers. She's not married to an African American man. She's married to a white man. She's a typical immigrant that come here that ran over to the arms of a W man. She went to an HBCU, which was a handout that a lot of them come here and go to those schools, but they don't identify with us. They don't identify with our struggle. I keep telling y'all that one of the worst places to be enslaved was in America because a lot of other groups that look like us overlook our plight. They say, oh man, you guys are lazy. You live in America, the best country in the world, and you don't take advantage of the opportunities. They totally disrespect and disregard what we've been through. So we got to stop having people that are not African Americans speak for us. I mean, it's to the point where Donald Trump even said this when he was allocating funds to HBCUs.
Since I signed the executive order establishing this initiative in my administration, we have made great strides in strengthening HBCUs, a cherished and vital institution in our country. Very important. I'm proud to say that my budget continues America's commitment to helping HBCUs improve their competitiveness, requesting more than $500 million for HBCU-focused programs. Further, the recent budget deal allows for the forgiveness of any outstanding loans owed under the HBCU Hurricane Supplement Loan Program, which was a very difficult task, and it worked out. I'm also pleased that our expansion of the Pell Grant eligibility will greatly help the many students attending our wonderful HBCUs.
So as a black man, what does it come down to? You can vote for Trump, who may say a lot of bigot stuff, and he has a large fan base of W supremacist people that follow him. Or you can vote for these Democratic people that act like they're your friend and put their arm around you by sticking a knife in your back and turning it. We have years of history of seeing a colossal failure between the Democratic Party and Republican Party. Just a bunch of lies, and they don't come through on the things that they say that they're going to do. So you have to make that decision. But I know that a lot of black men are turning their back on Kamala Harris, but now a lot of black women are starting to turn their back on Kamala Harris as well. I'm not a fan of Trump either. I'm not a fan of Trump. I'm not a fan of neither one of these people because I don't think that they really stand in the gap and stand for the people. You know, man, this thing is getting real crazy, man. But what is the black agenda? What is it that the FBA black people want? You can't, you know, if I see a lot of people saying, well, this is the black woman, this is the first black president. Obama, look at Obama when we had Obama in office, you know. I understand the symbolism and stuff like that, but as far as policy set in place to help black American people and to advance us forward, no. But again, as black people, what is your agenda? What are you standing for? What are you demanding? What are you doing to force their hand and make sure that they do things specifically for you? What are you doing? That's going to be up to you. But we know that a lot of people is turning their back on Kamala Harris. A lot of people do not want to support Kamala. So we'll see how this process goes along. If you made it this far in the video, hit that like button, subscribe to Street Media TV. Leave your comments in the comment section. Remember, I love y'all. Till the next time. Peace.